I want to summarize and talk about my stats for playing this game while doing this 30-day challenge. Before I talk about my stats, let me bring up days 1 through 4. It was at this time period where I wasn't too comfortable with the controls and I was just running around looking for any robot enemy to kill without the thought of using cover. I was only able to play control point during those days, so I did eventually learn that it wasn't just about the kills, but also completing the objective for the team to win matches. Let's get this point. Get the control point. We have 20. In the back of my mind, kills were still a top priority, and on day 4 is when I acquired the Javelin Rifle 4 to help with that. Which is why by day 5, I was now qualified to enter in a 5v5 deathmatch by adding Slingshot the day prior as my third mech to my hangar. See, I didn't even know that it was called a hangar then. For about 2+ weeks, I will refer to my hangar as my squad. Anyways, I was excited to start a deathmatch. I was still not using much cover and running around like a madman trying to kill the nearest mech and making a bunch of mistakes. Like this, Javelin right hitting the ceiling. I'm behind cover the whole time. I'm thinking I'm hitting the enemy, but I'm only hitting the crates in front of me. Man, that's embarrassing. On days 6 and 7, I was playing a mix of control points and 5v5 deathmatch, and this is around the time I got hooked and started playing a lot more matches than when I first started. More of my attention started going into Mech Arena, and some of the other mobile and console games that I played temporarily sat in the background. Day 8 is when I mentioned that for 7 days I haven't been using the ability button because I didn't actually notice that button until that time. So I made more of a conscious decision to be more aware of the ability button because it is very useful in the game. On day 9 is when I actually started using the Javelin Rifle 4 as a dual weapon on the Paragon. Although I was getting some kills and saw the big difference in using 2 Javelin racks at the same time instead of 1, I still wasn't using the Javelin rack properly as I often kept getting too close to the enemies, not knowing why it wouldn't go off when I hit the trigger button. By day 10, I was using Slingshot and Lancer a bit more, including their abilities, which was rare for me to do up until that point. I learned to use Slingshot's ability to dash into enemies for damage as well as escape if need be, and learned to use Lancer's jumping ability to escape enemy fire as well if need be. I was definitely getting into the habit of using that ability button. On day 11 and 12, I used the Paragon with 2 Javelin Racks 4s attached to practice locking on and killing enemies while standing behind cover more. It became a better way for me to use that weapon because it gave me a better chance of surviving, therefore helping me rack up more kills. Day 11 is when I acquired MD and then used him on day 12 for the first time. I thought MD was great for the health regeneration and support, but at the same time found him to be pretty weak in comparison to my other mechs, so he always became a last resort thereafter. Day 12 is also the first time I encountered a draw in a match and I was so confused about it. Man, we tied on that? Nobody won. Are you serious? Nobody won. I didn't even know that was possible. Day 13 is when I first started using Juggernaut as well as the Post Cannon 6. I liked the damage that weapon was causing on the enemies, and so I used Post Cannon 6 for so many matches behind the scene. Also, I wanted to use Juggernaut for its protection bar ability, which is what I called it at first. But I still learned that it's actually called a shield. Day 14 was pretty much more of the same as day 13. I was constantly using and started matches with Juggernaut. On day 15, I went back to the Paragon with the dual Javelin Rack 4s and just felt better with moving around while locking onto and killing enemies. Day 16 is when I showed myself using Ares in a match and also when I started using the Long Arm 10. It was a bit difficult to use because the target area is small for hidden enemies, so you can easily miss a target if your accuracy isn't that great. Day 17 is when I played a match with the Paragon and expressed my desire to get the Javelin 6 weapon because the Javelin 4 was becoming a bit too weak on killing some enemies on the first hit, even if all the Javelins hit the target. It was understandable because as I kept leveling up, enemies kept leveling up, forcing me to level up more. On day 18, I finally was able to use what I desired, the Javelin Rack 6. That match on that day ended up being close and going into overtime, and the Javelin Rack 6 did not disappoint because it did help me rack up some kills. By day 19, I used the Post Cannon 8 on Juggernaut and was loving it as well as the sound it made while shooting. That's a beautiful sound right there. It quickly became one of my favorite weapons as it was causing more damage and had more ammo than the previous weapons I had attached on him, and so I was more successful than not while using this weapon. Also, using cover more started to become second nature. I went back to using Ares more on day 20 with a weapon switch for both arms because I was unhappy with the long arm 10 and shotgun 2. So I switched them for the post cannon 8 and plasma 4, which worked out much better for me for a while. Day 21 was a huge surprise to me because I never in my time playing Mech Arena faced enemies as tough as these guys. They were stomping on me, Hulk smashing me, freezing me, dashing at me repeatedly, or probably laughing uncontrollably at me and my teammates all staring into their phones. I was going through all my mechs at a record pace and there was nothing I was able to do to stop them, and the whole time I was wondering who at the Mech Arena front office authorized this match to happen. Godlike players versus mere mortals. Can you believe these two added me as a friend and without me realizing it was them invited me to play a 2v2 deathmatch with them and did that same crap to me again? I finished the match and right away after it was finished, they sent me another 2v2 deathmatch invite. Nah, I'm good. Day 22 was the complete opposite of day 21. I entered in another 2v2 deathmatch to redeem myself, and while playing with Ares, I used a shotgun 8 and shotgun 4, and strangely this match was a lot easier than the previous day. Day 23 is when I began to use Arachnos, and I got him through completing all the challenges of the 7-day derby event. I had the Plasma 8 attached in combination with the Missile Rack 6, and this match ended up being a good one. On day 24, I used both Arachnos and Ares to try and achieve getting 2 MVPs with 2 different mechs in one battle to help me get event points to possess the Stasis Beam 8 at a later time. The match was good, and I came very close to completing that objective. On day 25, I was still focused on getting event points for the Stasis Beam 8, and this objective for the derby event was to kill 6 mechs with the Javelin Rack 6, in which I also came close to completing in this match. Can I get him? Good kill me. Day 26 was still me focused on the derby event, and all I had to do was win one more 5v5 deathmatch totaling 6 out of 6 wins to move the needle a bit by getting event points. Arachnos and Paragon did the job. By day 27 was when it was brought to my attention that bots were still involved this deep in Mech Arena, as it was pointed out that during a 2v2 deathmatch from my day 22 video, I was playing against bots. Now, bots or not, I still was enjoying the game and felt that bots helped me in getting practice to get better at the game, therefore it was no big deal to me. Day 28 was interesting to me because while playing with Ares in a 2v2 deathmatch, I attached the Arc Torrent 6 and Fragment 6. I had literally purchased the Arc Torrent 6 for well over 250,000 credits moments before I began and recorded the match. I had no idea what the weapon would do, and I quickly enjoyed using it as I seen the damage it inflicted and how cool it looked when firing, almost like electricity flowing out of it. I entered into a tournament on day 29, and this is when I switched the attachments on the Ares to a dual Arc Torrent 6. This definitely caused more damage than just one Arc Torrent 6, and it showed by killing enemies a lot faster. I didn't finish the match with Ares, but because of Arachnos, I was able to get first place at the final moments of that match. Oh, I took his kill to kill me. I'm the new kill leader, which means, does that mean I'm gonna get the first place? Oh, I got the first place. Good job, me. For the final day, I completed the 30-day challenge by using both Paragon and Arachnos, but mainly focused on Paragon to use a dual Missile Rack 6 to help with an objective in killing 2 mechs from 70 meters or more for the derby event, all to get the Stasis Beam 8 later. I did surpass that target number. This was also the first time I used 2 Missile Rack 6s on one mech only, and I wish I would have done it sooner. All in all, I learned a lot and had lots of fun while playing Mech Arena. I would say that within the 30 days of playing this game, that although I did not become pro level, I did improve a lot since I first began the journey, and I'm a lot better now since then. With that said, I do want to continue to grind to get better, and so I will start a new series that I'll call Mech Arena, the Road to Tier 9, where I will continue to reach the highest tier in the game. I'll upload progress whenever I feel, and in between videos, I'll probably post some other game-related content that could be similar or is totally different from Mech Arena. It all depends on my mood of making content. Here are my stats during the 30-day challenge and how things went for me after the challenge ended. I ended the 30-day challenge at tier 4, so when I start the new series, Mech Arena Road to tier 9, I will be starting off at this point, where I have earned 6 tier stars out of 24 to unlock tier 5.